The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Superstition, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38899. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation. Starting first, just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 closed tow hooks. These are intended for operational use, 6,000 pounds, direct pull only. Just up from that, you'll find underslung air horns, electronic siren in the face of the passenger side, unit identifier E261. As we move around to the driver's side, face of the front bumper, you'll find your mechanical siren. Moving up onto the cab area, you'll find emergency warning lights just under the headlight structure. On the outer edge, marker turn indicator light, and then headlight structure on the inside, housing low and high beam headlights. High beam will be located on the inside. Just up from that, emergency warning lights. Directly behind the Pierce logo is where you'll find the hood release. Moving up to the windshield is where you'll find 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. Out to the A-pillar is where you'll find your mirror, housing a flat and convex mirror. And then moving up to the brow of the apparatus, we'll find 5 identification clearance lights. Located directly in the center is where you'll find your forward-facing floodlight. Let's move up onto the roof where you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located inside the light bar in the center area is where you'll find your opticom. And then just above that light bar is where you'll find your go light, controlled from within inside the officer space. This is your spotlight. Let's take a look at the side of the apparatus full view here, and we'll focus in on the cab section next. Starting first with your front axle, where you'll find a visual sight gauge indicator, Michelin tires, Alcoa wheel. In the very front section, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. This is also the location where you'll find your 120 volt air conditioning plug-in and shoreline inlet. As we move to the door, you'll find easily accessible with a gloved hand. This is the door lock and latch combination. Right next to that is the grab handle for gaining entry and exit, maintaining 3 points of contact into the cab. And then above the front axle at the top section, you'll find a side-facing scene light. And then to the rear of the cab, you'll find your water tank level indicator. And then at the very top section, emergency warning light. And then also one down at the very bottom section on the door. Let's move to the pump panel area. We'll come back to this space in more detail. Let's move on to the body section. This is where you'll find your folding wheel chocks. There are 2 to the rear of the axle. Moving up onto the body itself, marker turn indicator just to the front of the axle. Then we have additional pan doors located here for SCBA bottle storage for up to 3 bottles. To the rear of that, you'll find your fuel and DEF fill locations behind this pan door. Moving now to the top section, where you'll find a side-facing scene light, and then to the very rear at the top, emergency warning light. Moving around to the rear of the apparatus, starting at the top, you'll find emergency warning light, brake, turn, and reverse cluster. Also, emergency warning light rear-facing, and then just above that in the recessed area is where you'll find your rear-facing scene light. Once again, all the way to the very top is your emergency warning light. As we move into the center rear section above the roll-up compartment door, this is where you'll find your backup camera, and then also above that is the traffic advisor. We'll go over a few more items in detail, but let's move on now to the passenger side of the vehicle. Full view of the apparatus on the passenger side. Let's move into the body section next. And then we'll move on to the main pump panel area. Passenger side, we'll come back to that in great detail. On to the cab section next. Same configuration and layout. Let's take a look at the front bumper extension, where you'll find D-handle gains you access into your troughed hose storage area. There are two loads located here. We'll move into the front section just above the inlet here for your air. On the right side is your windshield wiper. Left side will be your fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Moving to the right, we have a coolant reservoir. This is not the fill location for your coolant. It is simply a reservoir for overflow. Also instructions on the rear wall for cab lift, a remote for your cab lift, and then also your protected switch for razor lower. To the far right, you'll find your power steering fluid. We're now onto the cab forward section where you'll find your shoreline inlet and then also a shoreline inlet for your Coleman AC. Into the driver's space, let's start first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel are safety and warning placard information, combination door lock and latch, window control, and a grab handle. In the driver's side stepwell area, you'll find an air inlet. We'll go ahead and move into the space here of your drivers. When plugged into Shoreline Power, your auto charge status will illuminate, indicating battery status. You'll also find this yellow placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, and cold tire inflation. This is also the location for your VIN number and fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and fluid type. As you move up from this location, you'll find your air horn and electronic siren foot pedals. At about the left knee of the operator, you'll find your transmission, engine, diagnostic port, along with your ABS port, tech module, and display module. Also some switches here for ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics, and regen inhibit. Moving just up from this location, you'll find your master battery switch, quarter turn for activation. Moving to the far right, you'll find a push and hold emergency parking brake release. And as we move into the dash area, you'll start on the left with your four-way flasher, ignition, and start switch. Switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This will engage or disengage all emergency warning lights along with your headlights, and a panel switch allowing you to brighten or dim lights within preview of the operator. To the opposite side of the steering column, you'll find your OK to engage your high idle indicator and switch. Moving up to the dash cluster, you'll find your transmission, oil, def level, and water temp. On the right-hand side, you'll find volts, fuel, front and rear air. In the very center, you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information regarding your vehicle will display in the tally lights above and below, and then also in the digital screen located under the tachometer and speedometer. Let's move just to the right of the steering column. General view. We'll start first on the left-hand side of the image. Pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. This is the yellow diamond, which is your rear spring brake, along with your command zone, touchscreen, and function button. Also, Allison transmission pad, push button, pump in drive. We do have some additional switches here for engine brake settings for low, medium, and high, fuse block, rear compartment, and mirror heat. Further to the right, you'll find your pump shift. There are instructions here from road to pump, and then also instructions from pump to road. Just a reminder, you need two green indicators, pump engaged and OK to pump when activating pump. Moving to the right, mirror control for flat and convex mirrors for both passenger and driver side. Climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost located in the very front section, along with your siren, electronic siren that is, and PA speaker. Let's move toward the center overhead, where you'll find a red light flashing indicating do not move your apparatus. You may have a compartment door open or ajar, along with your seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green they're in the seat and belted. Over the driver's space, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, which is 10 feet 8 inches. The length of the vehicle is 35 feet 6 inches. And a gross vehicle weight rating of 48,500 pounds. If you make any adjustments to your vehicle that may alter this placard, please update the placard to match. Moving to the right, we do have some switches located here for Emergency Master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, upper rear warning, high beam flash, and Opticom. Also your front flood, driver's flood, passenger flood, rear scene, siren brake for your electronic mechanical siren, and electronic siren and momentary Opticom. Traffic advisor located here, along with some storage pockets. Moving further to the right and looking toward the rear, you'll find 2 forward-facing seats and 1 rear-facing seat. In the center, map box storage location. To the rear of the driver and passenger seat, you'll find your EQ2B siren. Also, moving to the exterior, Michelin tires, Alcoa wheel, and a visual sight gauge. We're on to the rear portion of the cab next. We'll start first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel are safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, window control, and a grab handle. As we look into the cab's center area, you'll find a roll-up compartment door on the left-hand side, engine access, and an additional rear-facing seat. Into that roll-up compartment door, you'll find an adjustable shelf, LED lighting inside. As you move toward the rear of the engine, you'll find your access panel. Lift and turn latch gains you access into that space. Those are for your daily checks for oil and transmission. On the outer edge of that upper map box, you'll also find 12-volt access via USB. To the rear of the officer seat, you'll find an enclosed compartment. This is for your main radio. The forward-facing seats at the rear are on pedestals. Lift and turn latch will gain you access into this space. Those are air ride seats located in the pedestal area. Moving to the center is where you'll find your roof-mounted 120-volt air conditioner that operates when plugged into shoreline power. To the exterior of the rear cab, you'll find an additional storage location, adjustable shelf. As we move on to the pump panel area, we'll start on the upper left with your 2 crosslays, along with a warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. Because of the lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement. Just underneath those crosslays, you'll find an additional storage location and a pull-out stand-on running board. We'll start now with your pump panel, identifying a few items within this area. Let's start first in the upper left-hand corner with your master pump intake gauge, and then right next to that is the master pump discharge gauge. Moving further to the right, you'll find a water tank level indicator. That is the blue module. We also have a transmission gauge in the very top section, standalone, and then also a warning indicator light for that transmission overheat. You'll also find engine information located here within the gauges and tally lights for additional information. As we move to the pump panel area, starting down low, this is your Husky 3 foam system, specifications and operating instructions, along with the module, which is control. There are operating instructions located on the face of that panel. You'll also find in the red foam level indicator for the foam tank. Moving further to the top section is where you'll find our crosslay activations for discharges and also number 4 and reel discharge, along with your deluge discharge, which is a wheel valve. In the upper right hand corner, you'll find currently plugged. These are your test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. To the right, this is your fire pump primer. There are also instructions underneath it for at least best practices 1000 RPMs, along with some switch locations here in the lower section and also the driver's side 2.5-inch discharge. As we move all the way down to the very bottom, you'll find your 2.5-inch discharges located here. These are the control levers for those. Moving to the right, we do have an audible alarm. The outer edge of that speaker does rotate. Just above that is where you'll find your idle and then also your pressure throttle governor control module located to the very far right. Minimum operation maintenance schedule placard located here in the center of the pump panel. And then as we move to the right, you'll find your tank fill, and then just underneath that is the tank to pump, which is a wheel valve. Moving further to the right, you'll find your engine cooler and recirculating line. These are both twist, not pull activations. And then moving just down to the right, some additional information. Once again, minimum operation maintenance schedule. Just underneath that, you're going to find a warning placard indicating pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. You'll also find the Watrous placard indicating the type of water pump that you have, along with an additional warning placard here indicating fall. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. To the far right is your main pump drain. Let's move down, and just to the left of this location on the pump panel, where you'll find a placard indicating warning, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after proper training. You'll also find your passenger side large diameter discharge, it's a wheel valve, along with your minimum operation maintenance schedule placard. We do have the American flag Eagle Pierce logo. This is your large diameter pump inlet. Moving just to the right and down at the very bottom, this is your auxiliary pump inlet, locally controlled via the ball valve. Also an additional warning placard here indicating warning, do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. This is also your draft and foam tank lever and fill location. Inside the back side of the pan door as an instruction here for foam fill or operational use. Moving to the very bottom, you'll find your foam pump intake drain and foam pump discharge drain. Moving now into the compartment space, we'll identify a few items within this area. Let's start first in the upper left. When plugged into Shoreline Power, your battery charger will activate, maintaining batteries. Also, over wheel compartment, 2 SCBA brackets. As we move into the compartments, just under that, you'll find SCBA bottle storage for 2 bottles. As we move toward the rear of the apparatus, you'll find your Michelin tire Alcoa wheel on the rear axle. Just up from that location, SCBA bottle storage along with your ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. It is the silver cap. As you move the door down, it exposes the 4.5 US gallon DEF tank, which is the blue tank or blue cap. Moving to the rear compartment, adjustable shelving and also a pull-out tray in the lower section. All compartment doors open, exposing everything within your vehicle on the driver's side. Moving around to the rear, on the left and right cluster, you'll find emergency warning light, brake, turn, and reverse light. Just up from that, you'll find an emergency warning light rear facing. In that same space, you'll find your rear facing scene lights. And then at the very top section, you'll find your emergency warning light. As we move into the items within inside the rear section, roll-up compartment door in the center, you also have a long-handled tool storage on the left-hand side of that door, along with your backup camera, and then just above that, you'll find your traffic advisor. Let's take a look at some close-ups here. First, hose bed area, where you'll find to the left your hose bed storage location, also long-handled tool storage and backboard storage. Just above the emergency warning light, you'll find your rear scene light activation switch, 10-foot folding ladder, and then 2 storage locations here for long-handled tool storage. In the center compartment, an adjustable shelf. A couple of warning placards here indicating fall injury and also entanglement hazards. Into the upper section, long-handled tool storage, backboard storage. Also, your hose bed divider is movable. There is also a passenger side 2.5-inch pre-connect located in the front bulkhead. As we move on to the passenger side now, moving through the compartments next, you'll find SCBA bottle storage for air packs located in the over wheel compartment, SCBA bottle storage to the rear of the rear axle, and then also your equipment rack hydraulic reservoir located just forward of that location. Michelin tires Alcoa wheel. Moving now to the forward compartment, where you'll find 2 bottle storage locations here. Exhaust extremely hot. Diesel exhaust temperatures do exist, especially during regen. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. Into the forward compartment, an adjustable shelf. And now into the pump panel area, we'll identify a few items within this space. Let's start first at the very top, where you'll find your booster reel cutout. This is for your hose. Also a grab handle. As we look to the pan door, you'll find 2 pan doors, one on the left and right. These are for access. Identifying a few of these items within this space, let's start first with a warning placard indicating pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. You also have two 2.5-inch discharges located on the passenger side, along with your American flag Eagle Pierce logo. This is your large diameter pump inlet. As we move to the right of this location, this is your large diameter passenger side discharge. It's green in color. Then we'll move to the very bottom where you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Also access into the pan door here for gaining access to your relief valve. And then to the right, you'll find your passenger side auxiliary inlet, locally controlled via ball valve, and additional drains. Down at the very bottom, you're going to find a pull-out tray located here for standing on. 2 cross lays located here, number 1 cross lay, and then also your 2.5-inch cross lay. To the lower portion of the cross lay area, you'll find storage location. Moving forward into the cab area, we have additional storage, LED lighting, and also an adjustable shelf. Moving now into the rear cab of the apparatus. On this side, you'll also find attached to the door panel safety and warning placard information, electronic window control, and grab handle. Overhead push on and off white or red lens lights along with your air conditioning unit, and also 120 volt air conditioner when plugged into Shoreline power that will be activated. Rear facing seat located here. This is a clean cab concept. Moving on to the front axle where you'll find Michelin tires, Alcoa wheel, and a visual sight gauge. We're into the officer space now. Let's identify a few items within this space, starting first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, window control, and a grab handle. Your vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system and airbag located here, also warning in regards to that airbag and mounting any equipment within this area. As we move to the front dash area, you'll find your MDT slide. To the left of that location, a few items we'll identify. First, starting with your access for 12 volt, you have barrel style, and then also USB-A. Moving to the forward section, you'll find a push button for your air horn activation. Moving to the center, additional storage location. Behind this is spare wiring. That's what the red and white candy cane label indicates. Let's look overhead of the officer seat where you'll find your emergency master switch, 2 future switch locations, a siren brake, and then also we have front flood, driver's flood, passenger flood, and rear scene. Moving just to the left, you'll find your siren control. Further to the left, your go light. This is to control the spotlight just above the light bar, and then also an AM/FM weather band radio. This is the air conditioner unit forward section. All compartment doors open now on the driver's side. I have a few images here with your equipment rack down. We have a 24-foot extension ladder, 14-foot roof ladder, As we move to the rear hose bed area, it's a covered hose bed. There is these yellow diamonds indicating the edge of the walking surface. We also have your unit identifier on the top, and then also some warning placards here that this is a non-walking surface, and that's why we have these additional warning signs. As we move to the 2 cross lays located here in the front section to the rear of the cab, into the dunnage area, it's where you'll find your booster line and also master stream device. This is also the location for your Husky 3 foam system. As we move to the master stream, we do have an extend gun, free tension spool, and manual rewind on your hose. This is the location for your manual rewind. Moving to the very top section, we do have your water tank access fill location and then foam tank A fill location. As we move into the foam tank, just as a reminder, do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. The rest of the images are going to be that of the chassis with the cab tilted. First, let's start just underneath where you'll find your tow hooks located just to the right and left frame rail. Just forward of that location, you'll find these operational tow hooks. These are 6,000 pounds direct pull and are intended for operational use. When the cab has been fully lifted, please install the safety bar. At that point, do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. Maintain equal cab pressure on both left and right lift cylinders. There'll be no additional audio from this point on. Congratulations, Superstition Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38899. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.